Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnapristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatade Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiriyet नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भक्ति नैष्टिकी. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. Hare Krishna everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So we'll continue our discussion on Canto 2, Chapter 1, the first step in God realization. And I believe we completed till verse number 30, right?
I'm not sure, Mataji. I was not there.
As of my
I think we have to start 33. I think we get up to 32, madam.
32?
That's what I think. I think we have to do 32.
No. Oh, yeah. We did 31. Sure, yes. I remember the art of affection, the set of teeth, the most alluring. Yeah. I think, 30. I think we did till 31, right?
That's what I think so, yeah.
Yeah, yes. So, someone has some little summary, something about this. Did anybody think about this during in the last 4 or 5 days? No? Yes? No?
No, Mataji, I did not get the chance.
No.
Yeah, so what we should actually do, we can make some bullet points, just the flow, and then just, going through it maybe, if you like. So this canto opens with Sukadeva Goswami answering Parikshit Maharaj's question. And the question was, what is the duty of a person in general, and especially one who is going to die? What should he hear about, chant, and remember and worship, right? That's what his questions were. And Sukadeva Goswami, he glorified his questions. He appreciated his questions because they are for the ultimate good of all, because they were related to Krishna. And then he started with speaking about what should one not hear about, like Graham-edis, who are always absorbed in sense enjoyment and wasting their time in fulfilling the material needs, even though they know that the thing that they are doing is going to be finished when the body finishes, and still they don't even take lesson from their family members dying. They think that their family members will protect them and they can protect them, right? That's what their thoughts are, but they don't see their real well-being. And then he speaks about, glorifies the Bhakti Yoga, basically, from verse number 5 to 11. So even Jnanis, Karmis, Yogis, they achieve perfection, but only by Bhakti, right? Only by Bhakti can one Tasmad Bharta Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishwaro Hari Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha Smratavyascha Bhayam. So if one wants to be free from fear, then one should actually hear about, glorify, and remember the Lord, actually. So that is the only way. And highest perfection of human form of life is Ante Narayan Smriti, right? And then He speaks about the superiority of the personal conception of the Lord, and which is inferior to Brahman, right? He speaks about like how he, even though he was Brahman realized, but he was attracted to the personal form of the Lord, right? When his father sent his disciples and spoke 2 verses, and he was attracted and he came back. He says that I was fixed in Brahman beyond the modes, and my mind still got attracted to Lord's pastimes, right? And what is the very important? The result of hearing Bhagavatam is that it develops, one can develop unflinching faith towards Supreme Lord, which is what actually the faith, like the 9 stages of bhakti: adau, shraddha, sadhu, sangha, bhajan, kriya, anartha, nivritti, nishtha, ruchi, asakti, bhava, and prema. They are like what? Increase in faith. Like it's initially it's very little faith, then the faith increases, and when the faith becomes very, very staunch, then that is the highest stage of prema. So, and this Bhagavatam has the full potential to give us that kind of faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then he speaks about, then he says that constant chanting of the Lord's holy name, right? That in verse number 10. Etan nirvidyamananam ichchatam akuto bhayam yogi nam nripnaranitam harer namanu kirtanam. Whether you are a yogi or a king, whatsoever you may be, but you should chant the holy name of the Lord. So now Parikshit Maharaj, he got a little bit like alarmed. How is he going to do it in 7 days? Then Sukadeva Goswami speaks about that just it's better to be Krishna conscious just for short time than to be not Krishna conscious for many lifetimes, right? And for long lives. Like the trees, they live for a long time, but they are not executing devotional service. So it's better to be that one moment. And then he gives the example of Katvanga Maharaj, who got completely fixed in Krishna consciousness in one moment. And then he speaks about Ashtanga Yoga. Yeah, speaks about pantheism and how for everybody believes in some supreme power, even the aborigines. So people who are materialistic, they believe in what they can see. So then this Virat Rupa form comes into picture, and then he compares that different part of the universe, different components of the universe as the bodily part of the Virat Rupa, right? Like the lower planetary systems were compared to his feet, heels and toes and ankles and shanks and knees, right? Lower part of his thighs and upper part of his thighs, hips and navel, right? Bhuvarloka. And then upper planetary systems, they are compared to his chest, neck, mouth, face, forehead, and head. And then his arms were compared to demigods. So there is a whole list of it. So that's what we did until verse number 31. So now let us go to verse number 32. And this is in some way, whenever we see outside all these things, we can think of the Supreme Lord in his Virat Rupa, right? So that can help us in that way. Okay, so let's go to one second. I am someone wants to read while I'm going to share in 1 minute. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Harim, thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
Vridota rosta adara iva lobo dharma stano dharma pato asya prishtam kastasya medram Vishnau cha mrityo kukshit samudra kriyayo hirayo asti sanga. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada is Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Modesty is the upper portion of his lips. Anchoring is his chin. Religion is the breast of the Lord, and irreligion is his back. Brahmaji, who generates all living beings in the material world, is his genitals, and the Mitra Varunas are his two testicles. The ocean is his waist, and the hills, the mountains are the stack of his bones. Purport. The Supreme Lord is not impersonal, as misconceived by less intelligent thinkers. Rather, he is a supreme person, as confirmed in all authentic Vedic literatures. But his personality is different from what we can conceive. It is stated here that Brahmaji acts as his genitals and that the Mitra Varunas are his two testicles. This means that as a person, he is complete with all bodily organs, but they are different types with different potencies. When the Lord is described as impersonal, therefore it should be understood that his personality is not exactly the type of personality found within our imperfect speculation. One can, however, worship the Supreme Lord even by seeing the hills and mountains or the ocean and the sky as different parts and parcels of the gigantic body of the Lord. The Virat Purusha as exhibited by Lord Krishna to Arjuna is a challenge to the unbelievers. Hari Bol.
Very good. You want to say something, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji, yes, it's simple and straightforward. First of all, from the Virat Rupa also we get the understanding that Krishna is a person, and all these different manifestations in the world. It represents his parts of the body, different parts of the body.
Yeah. So here, see, one can, however, worship the Lord even by seeing the hills and mountains or the oceans and the sky as different parts and parcels of the gigantic body of the world, the Virat Purusha. And this also exhibited as to by Lord Krishna to Arjuna is a challenge to unbelievers. So multiple ways, right? In previous purports also we read that because people, they say that I am God, the false incarnations, right? So then one can ask, can you show the Virat Rupa? Because Krishna showed that Virat Rupa to Arjuna. So if you are the Supreme Lord, then you should be able to show the Virat Rupa, right? And then I remember reading that in somewhere that then some people, they might say that, oh, you don't have the eyes to see. So then one can say, oh, Arjuna was given the eyes to see by the Supreme Lord, so you can give me the eyes to see that, right? Because Arjuna was given the vision by Krishna to be able to see that Virat Rupa, right? In that chapter,
Yes.
we know, 11th chapter. So, all right, so let's move on towards 33. Someone wants to read?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, Hari Bol, thank you.
Hari Bol. Thank you. Nadyo asya nadyo atha tanu ruhani mahi ruha viswatanor narpendra anantaviryah swasतिताम matriyasva gatirgayah karma guna pravahah. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O King, the rivers are the veins of the gigantic body, the trees are the heads of his body, and the omnipotent air is his breath. The passing ages are his movements, and his activities are the reactions of the three modes of material nature. Purport. The personality of Godhead is not a dead stone, nor is he inactive, as is poorly thought by some schools. He moves with the progress of time and therefore he knows all about the past and future, along with his present activities. There is nothing unknown to him. The conditioned souls are driven by the reactions of the modes of material nature, which are the activities of the Lord. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.12, the modes of material nature act under his direction only, and as such, no nature functions are blind or automatic. The power behind the activities is the supervision of the Lord, and thus the Lord is never inactive as is wrongly conceived. The Vedas says that the Supreme Lord has nothing to do personally, as is always the cause with superiors, and but everything is done by his direction. As it is said, not a blade of grass moves without his sanction. In the Brahma Samhita 5.48, it is said that all the universes and the heads of them, the Brahmas, exist only for the duration of his breathing period. The same is confirmed here. The air on which the universes and the planets within the universes exist is nothing but a bit of the breath of the unchangeable Virat Purusa. So, even by studying the rivers, trees, air, and passing ages, one can conceive of the personality of Godhead without being misled by the formless conception of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that those who are much inclined to the formless conception of the Supreme Truth are more troubled than those who can intelligently conceive of the personal form. Haribol.
Haribol.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mataji, you want to say something?
Yeah. So here, Srila Prabhupada said, that uh, Supreme Lord, he knows about the past, present, and future. And by his direction, without his sanction, and not even the blade of grass is moving, all the material nature is under his control. So if we think he is formless, that is not right. And so the Virat Rupa, these things, the rivers and trees and air and passing. So yeah, we can see by this Virat Rupa, we can see that the Krishna has an, and even also the Brahma Samhita said even the Krishna is the supreme person. So we don't have to think Krishna is formless.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the main thing I found. Yes.
Yeah, so this Prabhupada is quoting this verse, Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti. I think that is the one, if I remember.
7.12.
Yeah, Yachaeva, Satvika, Bhava. Yeah, so the three modes of material nature. Yeah, know that all states of being, be they goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifest by my energy. So even actually, yeah, that's what the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita also kind of speaks, that everything material, everything spiritual is coming from him only. So it's how we use it and how we see it. If we see it disconnected from Krishna, then it is material. But then Srila Prabhupada says that even this body gets spiritualized when it is used in Krishna service. Just like an iron rod, when we put it in fire, it becomes fire, even though it still looks like an iron rod. But then Srila Prabhupada says, oh, touch it, then you will feel that it's fire, right? So even though it may look like the material body, but if it is used fully, completely in Krishna service, then it is completely spiritualized, right? So, and also here he says that this verse, like in 12.5, when Arjuna asked whether it is better to worship the impersonal Brahman or the person Krishna, in 12th chapter he asked, and then Krishna says, that in 12.5, that if one's way of meditating and engaging in service is the impersonal Brahman, then it is very, very difficult if they don't conceive the personal form of the Lord. And this, even Krishna is giving here the Virat Rupa, where within the meditation we can conceive the form of the Lord, right? Yeah. So everything and everything is under the supervision of the Lord, and everything that we see actually have full potency to remind us of Krishna. So it depends on if we want to remember or not. We can go back to him, right? So let's move on to the next verse, 34. Someone wants to read?
I can read Mataji.
Yeah.
Ishasya keshan vidur ambuvan vasastu sandhyam kuru varya bhumanaha avyaktyam ahur hridayam manascha sa chandramaha sarva vikara koshaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O best among the Kurus, the clouds which carry water are the hairs on his head, the terminations of days or nights are his dress, and the supreme cause of material creation is his intelligence. His mind is the moon, the reservoir of all changes.
So just very straightforward, right?
Yes.
So maybe Prabhu, you can read the next also. Maybe just skip the Sanskrit.
Yes, Mataji. The principle of matter, Mahat Tattva, is the consciousness of the omnipresent Lord, as asserted by the experts, and Rudra Dev is his ego. The horse, mule, camel, and elephant are his nails, and wild animals and the quadrupeds are situated in the belt zone of the Lord. Forward.
Yeah. So it's just that, like, as he did in Bhagavad Gita, here also he's giving us the ways to see him in different things and remember him, right?
Yes.
And especially for those who don't have any conception of the personal form of the Lord, for them, once they start seeing all these things as Krishna's supreme Lord's bodily part, then slowly, gradually, they will start believing in the personal form of the Lord, right? And then that helps them in progressing in devotional services.
Yes, Mataji.
So let's do this 36. Someone wants to read? व्यांशितद् व्याकरणं विचित्रं मनुर्मनीषा मनुजो निवासः गन्धर्वा विद्याधराचार्णा पस्रः स्वर स्मृतिर् असुरानिका वीर्यः. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Varieties of birds are indications of his masterful artistic sense. Birds are his masterful artistic sense. Manu, the father of mankind, is the emblem of his standard intelligence, and humanity is his residence. The celestial species of human beings, like the Gandharvas, Vidyadhara, Charnas, and angels, all represent his musical rhythm, and the demoniac soldiers are representations of his wonderful prowess. Purport. The aesthetic sense of Lord is manifested in the artistic colorful creation of varieties of birds like the peacock, parrot, and cuckoo. The celestial species of human beings like the Gandharvas and Vidyadharas can sing wonderfully and can entice even the minds of heavenly demigods. Their musical rhythm represents the musical sense of the Lord. How then can he be impersonal? His musical taste, artistic sense, and standard intelligence, which is never fallible, are different signs of his supreme personality. The Manu Samhita is the standard law book for humanity, and every human being is advised to follow this great book of social knowledge. Human society is the residential quarters for the Lord. Wow. This means that the human being is meant for God realization and association with God. This life is a chance for the conditioned soul to regain his eternal God consciousness and thus fulfill the mission of life. Maharaj Prahlad is the right type of representative of the Lord in the family of Asuras. None of the living beings is away from the Lord's gigantic body. Each and everyone has a particular duty in the relation to the Supreme Body. Disruption in the matter of discharging the specific duty assigned to each and every living being is the cause of disharmony between one living being and another. What a beautiful sentence. But when the relation is re-established in relation with the Supreme Lord, there is complete unity between all living beings, even up to the limit of wild animals and human society. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displayed this living entity in the jungle of Madhya Pradesh, where even the tigers, elephants, and many other ferocious animals perfectly cooperated in glorifying the Supreme Lord. That is the way to peace and amity all over the world. So, few main points that again, the artistic sense is represented by the birds, and the Vidyadharas, Gandharvas, their singing is by his rhythmic sense. And so basically that all this is telling that only a person can have all these characteristics, right? So how can Krishna not be a person, right? And then human society is his residential quarter. So Srila Prabhupada writes that, so that means that we are meant to associate with the Supreme Lord, and our lives are meant for God consciousness and God realization. And then only we can fulfill the mission of life, right? And then he says that like each and every one of us have a particular duty, and because of not doing that duty, there is this disharmony and all that craziness is there. If everyone do their duty properly, then there is harmony even in human and animals, and that example is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He did in the forest of Jharikhanda, right? All right, so let's move on to verse 37. Someone wants to read?
I can read my please.
Yeah.
Brahmanam Kshatra Bhujo Mahatma Vidur Angrahi Srita Krishna Varanaha Nana Bhitabhyajya Gano Papano Dravyatmakaha Karma Vitana Yogaha. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The Virat Purusha's face is the Brahmanas, his arms are the Kshatriyas, his thighs are the Vaisyas, and the Sudras are under the protection of his feet. All the worshipable demigods are also overtaken by him, and it is the duty of everyone to perform sacrifices with feasible goods to appease the Lord. Purport. Monotheism is practically suggested here. Offering sacrifice to many demigods under different names is mentioned in the Vedic literatures, but the suggestion made in this verse is that all those varieties of demigods are included in the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are only the parts and parcel of the original whole. Similarly, the divisions of the orders of human society, namely the Brahmanas, the intelligent class, the Kshatriyas, the administrators, and the Vaisyas, the mercantile community, and the Sudras, the labor class, and all included in the body of the Supreme. As such, sacrifice by every one of them in terms of pleasing the Supreme by feasible goods is recommended. Generally, the sacrifice is offered with clarified butter and grains, but with the progress of time, human society has produced varieties of goods by transforming materials supplied by God's material nature. Human society therefore must learn to offer sacrifice not only with clarified butter but also with other manufactured goods in the propagation of the Lord's glory. And that will bring about perfection in human society. The intelligent class of men or Brahmanas may give direction for such sacrifices in consultation with the previous acharyas. The administrators may give all facilities to perform such sacrifices. The Vaisyas class or mercantile community who produce such goods may offer them for sacrifice, and the Sudras class may offer their manual labor for the successful termination of such sacrifice. Thus, by the cooperation of all classes of human beings, the sacrifice recommended in this age namely the sacrifice of congregation chanting of the holy name of the Lord, may be executed for the common welfare of all the people of the world.
Haribo.
Haribo, yeah.
Want to say something, Matthew?
Yeah. So here Srila Prabhupada said, the demigods and all the human beings we are all the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So whatever we do, whatever the sacrifice we have to do, we have to do the sacrifice for the we have to please the Krishna by the sacrifice. And the four part of the human society, the Brahmana, Kshatriyas, Vaisyas, and Sudras. So we all are the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And so they said that this sacrifice we do with the butter and grains, but also we can do the sacrifice with other good things, because we produce some good things to please Krishna. So all these Brahmana, Kshatriya, Brahmanas can give the direction, and the merchandise give the goods, and Sudras, they can offer their labor to do the such sacrifices. And then we can please the Krishna. And the main sacrifice is we can cooperate together, and we have to do the chanting of the holy name. That is the main sacrifice to please the Supreme Lord.
Yeah. So I was just thinking, like in the previous verse, it says that humans are his human quarters are his residences, right? So here it says that like Brahmanas are his face and the Kshatriyas are his arms. So basically this is human society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. So even though like now in this Kali Yuga, there is no Varanashram, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, but still by qualities we understand that somebody is like a Brahmana and somebody is like a Kshatriya. So when we see those qualities in people, we can say that, oh, this is kind of face of the Virat Rupa, and these persons are like the arms of the Virat Rupa, right? We can think like that. And also this point here about the demigods, actually, so in this verse, it is monotheism. Earlier, in the previous I think when he started speaking about Ashtanga Yoga at that time, he spoke about pantheism also, right? Just to bring people to some conception of personal form of the Lord. But now he's coming back again to monotheism, that all demigods are parts of the body of the Lord. Right? Okay, so should we move on?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. All right. So this chapter is almost done. 2-3 more verses. Let's see if we can complete. Someone would like to read?
Can I read, Mataji?
Yes, please. Hari Bol.
38. Iyan Asha Ishvara Vigrahasya Ya Saniveshaha Katito Mayate Sandaryate Smin Vapushi Stabhiste Manaha Swabudya Nayatosti Kinchit. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I have thus explained to you the gross material gigantic conception of the personality of Godhead. One who seriously desire liberation concentrate his mind on the form of the Lord, because there is nothing more than this in the material world. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 9.10, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has verily explained that the material nature is only an order-carrying agent of His. He is one of the different potencies of the Lord, and she acts under His direction only. As the Supreme Transcendental Lord, He simply casts a glance over the material principle, and thus the agitation of matter begins, and the result actions are manifested one after another by 6 kinds of gradual differentiations. All material creation is moving in that way, and thus it appears and disappears in due course. Less intelligent persons with poor fund of knowledge cannot accommodate the thought of these inconceivable potencies of the Lord Krishna, by which he appears just like a human being. His appearance in the material world as one of us is also his costless mercy upon the fallen souls. He, in, he is transcendental to all material conception, but his unbound mercy upon his pure devotees, he comes down and manifests himself as a personality of Godhead. Materialistic philosophers and scientists are too much engrossed with atomic energy and gigantic situation of the universal form, and they offer respect more seriously to the external phenomenal feature of material manifestation than to the noumenal principle of spiritual existence. The transcendental form of the Lord is beyond the jurisdiction of such materialistic activities, and it is very difficult to conceive that the Lord can be simultaneously localized and all pervasive. Because the materialistic philosophers and scientists think of everything in terms of their own experience. Because they are unable to accept the personal feature of the Supreme Lord, the Lord is kind enough to demonstrate the Virat feature of his transcendental form, and herein Srila Shukadev Goswami has vividly described this form of the Lord. He concludes that there is nothing beyond the gigantic feature of the Lord. None of the materialistic, thoughtful men can go beyond this conception of the gigantic form. The mind of the materialistic men are flickering and constantly changing from one aspect to another. Therefore, one is advised to think of the Lord by thinking of any part of his gigantic body, and by one's intelligence only one can think of him in any manifestation of the material world. The forest, the hill, the ocean, the man, the animal, the demigod, the bird, the beast, or anything else. Each and every item of the material manifestation entails a part of the body of the gigantic form, and thus the flickering mind can be fixed in the Lord only and nothing else. This process of concentrating on the different bodily parts of the Lord will gradually diminish and demonic challenge of goodness, godlessness, and bring about the gradual development of devotional service to the Lord. Everything being part and parcel of the complete whole, the neophyte student will gradually realize the hymns of Isho Upanishad, which state that the Supreme Lord is everywhere, and thus he will learn the art of not committing any offense to the body of the Lord. This sense of God-mindedness will diminish one's pride in challenging the existence of God. Thus, one can learn to show respect to everything, for all things are part and parcel of the Supreme Body. Very good.
Wow, such a powerful, right? Powerful, right?
Very powerful, yeah.
You want to say something?
Yeah, Mataji. So it is very clear that by his own costless mercy only, the Supreme Lord is descending down into this material world, especially for his devotees. Because of the love he has for his devotees, he is coming down with a costless mercy. But the normal people won't understand that. They will think he is as a normal human being, but they don't see the transcendental is totally transcendental. So he has to show the Virat truth for those people, so that they know everything is within him. Whatever we are, we have to see the land, the ocean, the trees, the mountains, whatever is his body. So it is literally, at least because we are totally on material conception, even for the scientists, they are not thinking about the internal phenomena. They're always thinking about the material. They're doing so much research. So for those people, for those mentality, the Virat Roop will help. At least they know this is all part and parcel of the body of the Lord, and we should not harm. And by developing that consciousness is a first thing, and then I think later it will help them to move into more deep consciousness.
Yeah. So here the last part is really right. By this process of concentrating on the different bodily parts of the Lord will gradually diminish the demoniac challenge of godlessness and bring about great gradual development of devotional service to the Lord. Everything being part and parcel of the complete whole, the neophyte student will gradually realize the hymns of his Upanishad, that Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnam Purnat Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. So he is the complete whole, and all these things that are emanating from him, they are also complete, right? In themselves. Everything is complete and everything is his, but still he remains completely full, which states that the Supreme Lord is everywhere, and thus he will learn the art of not committing any offense to the body of the Lord. This sense of God-mindedness will diminish one's pride in challenging the existence of God. Thus, one can learn to show respect to everything. So, this is very important. Learn to show respect to everything, for all things are part and parcel of the Supreme Body. So how we can see everything connected to Krishna, which is the Sambandha Gyan, right? Sambandha Gyan is very, very important. Without Sambandha Gyan, even we cannot even chant the holy name properly. Haridas, Srila Haridas Thakur says that. So everything, we shouldn't just so much be fussy about, oh, this is material and this is not. Its only problem is that we don't see the connection of the Lord with of all these things that we say material with Krishna. If we see the connection of everything as this chapter is speaking about, as whole Bhagavad Gita is speaking about, then we will be able to utilize it properly in Krishna's service and not exploit the material nature, right? Right? And he's also saying here, Bhagavad Gita 9.10, where Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. That verse is describing that how this material nature, even though it's material, but it is completely under the direction of the Supreme Lord. It carries out Supreme Lord orders of the Supreme Lord. And then even when Krishna appears as a human in human society, avjananti mamuda manusham tanum ashritam param bhavam ajananto mam bhuta maheshwaram. So because they don't understand that he is the Supreme Lord, Supreme Controller, Supreme Proprietor, they just consider him just like a human. Okay, so this is the last verse of the chapter. Someone wants to read?
Yes, Mataji, I can read.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Thank you.
No, 1 second, Mataji, sorry.
39.
Yeah. Sa sarvadhi vratya anubhut sarva atma yathas swapna janaya shikteka tatam satya ma anand nidhim bhajet nanyatra sajjet yata atma patah. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: one should concentrate his mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who alone distributes himself in so many manifestations, just as an ordinary person creates thousands of manifestations in dreams. One must concentrate the mind on him, the only all-blissful, absolute truth. Otherwise, one will be misled and will cause his own degradation. Purport: in this verse, the process of devotional service is indicated by great Goswami Srila Sukadeva. He tries to impress upon us that instead of delivering our attentions to several branches of self-realization, we should concentrate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the supreme object of realization, worship, and devotion. Self-realization is, as it were, offering a fight for eternal life against the material struggle for existence, and therefore, by the illusionary grace of the material energy, the yogi or the devotee is faced with many allurements which can entangle a great fighter again in the bondage of material existence. A yogi can attain miraculous success in material achievements, such as an anima and laghima, by which one can become more minute than the minutest or the lighter than the lightest, or in the ordinary sense, one can achieve material benedictions in the shape of wealth and woman. But one is warned against such allurements because entanglement again in such illusionary pleasure means degradation of the self and further imprisonment in the material world. By this warning, one should follow one's vigilant intelligence only. The Supreme Lord is one, and his expansions are various. He is therefore the super soul of everything. When a man sees anything, he must know that his seeing is secondary and the Lord's seeing is primary. One cannot see anything without the Lord's having first seen it. That is the instruction of the Vedas and Upanishads. So, whatever you see or do, the super soul of all acts of seeing or doing is the Lord. This theory of simultaneous oneness and difference between the individual soul and the super soul is propounded by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the philosophy of Achintya Bheda Tattva. The Virat Rupa, or the gigantic feature of the Supreme Lord, includes everything materially manifested. And therefore, the Virat or gigantic feature of the Lord is the super soul of all living and non-living entities. But the Virat Rup is also the manifestation of Narayana or Vishnu. And going further on and on, one will eventually see that Lord Krishna is the ultimate super soul of everything that be. The conclusion is that one should unhesitantly become a worshipper of Lord Krishna, or for that matter, his plenary expansion Narayana, and none else. In Vedic hymns, it is clearly said that first of all, Narayana cast a glance over matter, and thus there was creation. Therefore, creation, there was neither Brahma nor Shiva, and what to speak of others. Shripad Shankaracharya has definitely accepted this, that Narayana is beyond the material creation and all others are within the material creation. The whole material creation, therefore, is one with and different from Narayana simultaneously, and this supports the Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva philosophy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Being an emanation from the glancing potency of Narayana, the whole material creation is non-different from him. But because it is the effect of his external energy, Bahiranga Maya, and is aloof from the eternal potency, Atma Maya, the whole material creation is different from him at the same time. The example given in this verse very nicely is that of a dreaming man. The dreaming man creates many things in his dream, and thus he himself becomes the entangled seer of the dream and is also affected by the consequences. This material creation is also exactly a dreamlike creation of the Lord, but he, being the transcendental supersoul, is neither entangled nor affected by the reactions of such a dreamlike creation. He is always in his transcendental position, but essentially he is everything, and nothing is apart from him. As a part of him, one should therefore concentrate on him only without deviation. Otherwise, one is sure to be overcome by the potencies of material creation and one after another. It is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.7 as follows. Sarva bhutani contd prakritim yanti mamikam kalpakasya punastani kalpapadau vishrajami aham. O son of Conte, at the end of millennium, every material manifestation enters into my nature, and at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I again create. Human life, however, is an opportunity to get out of this repetition of creation and annihilation. It is as means whereby one may escape the Lord's external potency and enter into his eternal potency. Thus ends Sri Bhaktivedanta purport of second canto, first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The First Step in God's Realization. Hare Krishna.
And wow, long purport, but it's summary of the. Yeah, you want to say something?
That's one of our favorite verses, 9.7. Sarva Bhutani Kante. This is pretty much it's so funny how the Prabhupada expands the 2 lines. Everything manifests in him, everything is created by him. There's nothing we can experience, see, feel that has not been seen by him first.
Yeah.
What are we to offer him anything? That's why I guess we say that every breath, every atom of my being belongs to you, Krishna.
Yeah.
How beautiful. And I
Yes.
like the way they explain Achintya Bheda Abhed
Veda
Tattva.
Tattva,
Yeah, Mataji. You can a little bit elaborate on that, Mataji, please.
Yeah, so basically it's that Achintya Bheda Veda Tattva is like, because we are part and parcel of him, so we are qualitatively same, but in quantity we are different, right? So actually, because everything is emanating from him, so just like the sunshine and the sun, so sunshine cannot exist without sun. Yeah. So similarly,
Right, Mataji.
cannot exist without him, but he can exist without us, right? But we are eternal and he is also eternal. We are eternally existing, he is also eternally existing. So quality, we have same quality, Satchidananda quality, but for him, he is the seer of everything, and he is in, we can experience only our body, but he can experience everyone's body. He knows, he knows the psychic movement of each and every living entity, and we know only ours, and that also sometimes we cannot understand, but he understands and he knows everything, right?
Right, Mataji.
Yeah. So that is that Achintya Bheda Veda, simultaneous oneness and difference between the soul and the super soul. Multiple places it is different. 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita also we see the difference between the soul and super soul. Super soul is pervaded only in one body. Super soul is in each and every living entity. Is the knower of everything, but we are not. We know only the dealings of our own body only, right?
Right, Mataji, sure.
Super soul exists in every atom, like in Brahma Samhita, that verse is there, Andantarastha Parmanu Chayantarastam. So he is as Paramatma in each and every atom of the material creation. Yeah.
And I also like, Mataji, how he always, Prabhupada always reminds us, like when we were not exposed to Srimad Bhagavatam or Krishna consciousness, the yogis and their yogic powers used to impress us so much.
Right. Now we understand. Yeah.
Right, now we understand the difference.
It is actually just a distraction. So this yogic siddhi, it can, like, these Ashtanga yoga, so from Ashtanga yoga, one gets the yogic siddhis, all these like 8, Anima, Lagima, Mahima, all these siddhis, right? But distraction, because one can just get allured by these and get distracted. Actually, the purpose of the yoga is to connect with the Supreme Lord, right? But these just the allurements, just if somebody is not pakka, then they will be just diverted from the goal of connecting with the Supreme Lord. Yeah.
Right, because we used to always ask for material benedictions for these yogis, or even the fortune tellers, or all these people that you do this vrat and you will get this benefit and this fruit. It was always for something to get in the bag.
Yeah, but ultimately, I will just say something. Actually, this weekend there was a nice retreat by His Grace Mahatma Prabhu in a place, in a retreat center, which is like about 1.5 hours from here, and which is 1 hour from Orlando. It is like place called Groveland. So again and again, he was emphasizing that chanting is our most important. In one of the purports, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that, yes, where he was describing Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So all those can engage in the Yuga Dharma for this age of Kali, Sankirtan Yagna. So he was again and again reminding that how chanting should be our most important dharma actually for us, and so we should prioritize that. The first thing, actually first priority in our life should be our japa, how important it is. I mean, there is long details, so I can share some other time. Right now it's almost 8:30, but yeah, maybe tomorrow I'll try to share for 10-15 minutes some.
Quick
Sure.
question. So the Achintya Beda is one and different at the same time, right, Mataji?
Yes, oneness and difference. Yes, oneness and difference. Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, and that oneness is in quality we are same, but we are minute, and he's just like a ocean drop of ocean, a drop of water, and the whole ocean, right?
Yeah. Got it.
That he can lift the Giriraj Govardhan hill, he can do Herculean task, but he cannot.
We are very minute atomic particle of.
Yeah, and he's the whole, like he's as a super soul existing in all living entities. We are just confined to just one living entity, our own self. Yeah. Okay, dear devotees, thank you all very much for your kind association. And Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthashri ki jai, Ananta Koti की जय वंशा and we offer our heartfelt prayers for the protection of devotees in Ukraine and Russia, especially Ukraine, and may like not only just devotees but for the well-being of all people who are there, and may there be some peaceful, something, so that there is not so much fear and so many lives are going, and people, no phone connection, no nothing, people are here also in anxiety because they cannot know what's happening to their family members there.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. So let us keep them in our prayers, that somehow Krishna change the hearts of Russians and make them little compassionate, so that they don't do harm the so many living entities.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all very much. We'll continue tomorrow.
Thank you, Mataji.